Hello, everybody. Hi. Hello. Hi, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining. Today, it's the two Amas and the two Yas, which is a very interesting combination. And we would like to discuss the book, Auntie Ya's book, Reflections for Thirsty Soul. We are continuing from the last book read, and we were reading a section called Shine Anyway. So let me come round, say hello to the ladies, let everybody introduce themselves a little bit briefly, just in case we have new people in today, and then we will get started. Sister Amma, good evening.
Sister Amma, good morning. My time.
It's almost good night where I am. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Sister Ya, good evening.
Good.
And Auntie Ya, good evening.
Good morning, Amma. You are the only outsider. We're all Canadians here.
Part of the world where I can sit on the beach right now.
Yeah, right. Well,
I envy
we
you.
are
I
not in
envy
snow
you.
yet.
I'm jealous. So
You should be. I'm actually talking to you from a beach eating fresh grilled shrimp. So,
Oh,
be
wow.
Oh
very jealous.
my.
you know, right? Experts are live.
But we're
I do know how to make people jealous. It's my profession.
Banner.
So it's really good to have all of you here. The last time we met, we were trying to shine anyway. Sister Ya, would you start us with the read? And then after the read, we can pick things up and get our perspectives.
Sure. So this is on page 96. So how do we cultivate the spirit of shining for his glory? 1. Trust in the Lord and not your own strength. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. 2. Pray for courage, boldness to pursue your God given passion, gifts, talents. Proverbs 28, verse 1. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. And then Daniel 11:32. But the people who know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits. 3. Rebuke the spirit of fear, especially of man. Isaiah 43, verse 1. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And then the last one, number 4, pursue excellence, in brackets, the Daniel spirit. Colossians 3:23-24. And whatever you do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance. Proverbs 16:3. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established.
Very well read. Thank you so much. Auntie Ya, I will start with you because you always find a way to throw me. The first one was, and lean not on your own understanding is one of the biblical verses that I have people quote to me at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime people want me to be a little bit more faithful and to believe, they tell me not to lean on my own understanding. So, Antia, how is it that when we're not leaning on our own understanding, we are able to shine anyway? Can you explain that bit for me, please?
When we are not leaning on our own understanding. Or maybe sometimes, there are people who are very focused in about what they are going to do, and they know what their purpose is. So they are like, they have this inner strength that pushes them to do well. So they just do it. Like, it's not that I'm not saying that it's easy, but they have a plan. They can see it. So it's right over there. And then they take the steps to get that way.
Yeah, see, what I get that bit, I understand. But normally people who want to shine, they
Hmm.
are the people who believe in themselves.
Yeah.
They are the people who go based on their own abilities and they do it.
Hmm.
But you are telling us to trust in the Lord
Hmm.
and shine anyway. Now that's alien to my head. You've got to explain that one to me again.
Well, you see, oh, good morning, Elizabeth. What it is, it's alien to your head, but I'm saying instead, those who are believers and they know the word of God, they are standing on it. And they know, say, most anyway. I'm not talking about our people right now who are being, abused by charlatans. I mean that any believer who is strong in the Lord, they know that God is their foundation. So when they are doing anything, they don't rely on their own strength. A lot of people,
Right.
I'd say, like they pray about the plans or whatever it is that they are going to undertake. They pray for direction, and sometimes, in that prayer, they may also put other people, right? But they get a sense. Sometimes they get the sense in their spirit that it's okay to move ahead, and then they might have one or two people speak to them that will confirm what they are trying to do. I'm talking from the
Okay.
believer's perspective, right?
Yep. I get that. And it makes sense. I intentionally asked you about it because I know there's a lot of people who have the perspective I was coming from. But this
Oh
says,
yes.
so when things are going well for you and you
Hmm.
lean on your own understanding, you'll be fine. When things are not going so well for you and you lean on your own understanding, you begin to doubt yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is even more critical for those periods when things are not going well for you,
Hmm.
and leaning on your own understanding will make you contemplate failure
Hmm.
and maybe even giving up on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Then leaning on the Lord here allows you to see the bigger picture, to feel bigger than your limitations, so
Hmm.
that you are able to carry on. Is that right? Or am I not interpreting it right?
Yeah, you are. Because I'll give the example of if you are going through a particularly harsh situation and you are a
Yeah,
believer, your tendency is, yeah, you're a believer, but sometimes you forget about the word and you are panicking and all that. But ultimately you come back to it. Like there are certain things that I hear about or I've gone through that I tell myself, if I didn't have my foundation as God, how would I go through that situation? And so you ask yourself, somebody who may not have that foundation, maybe they have something else they rely on, but you ask yourself, how do they manage it, right? Because sometimes the things that we face can drive us to extremes.
that's true.
Mhm.
That is very true. Right, Sister, yeah,
Yeah.
you read beautifully, but as you read, I want to have a look at the second one. What was it speaking to you in any way? That second point.
Um, in all your ways acknowledge him. Well, I think the whole thing is that for me, when I read it, I I have a very creative mind, and when I want something done, I I'll go to all lengths. So leaning on God, which is very recent for me, because I didn't
Oh,
used
so you were
to.
a bit like me.
Yes, I'll do whatever, and
Mhm.
it's sometimes really bad things just to get it, you know. And when I say bad, maybe it might be legal, like, but I want to push and get it done, and I don't care. But
Mhm.
when I was young, I'll give an example. When I was young, and I wasn't allowed to go to parties, even when I was in the university. So what I did was I just made a card from one of my friends that I knew my mom liked, although she wasn't having a birthday party or anything. And it was like a baptism kind of thing. And she was in Kumasi, I was in Kokoridua. And
That's good.
I mailed it to myself. So she went to the post office to get it. And she brought it to me. And she let me go. And I actually went to Takoradi to chill. So
That's
how
all.
creative I get when I want something done. So
May
I
the
guess
Lord close my kids' ears to these things so they are never this creative. Say amen on my behalf.
I will not
Pay
say
me.
amen. No, they should explode. I
Yeah.
explode. I
If you
run
pay
away
me,
from
I'll
Whoa,
say
whoa,
stage
it.
whoa,
and
whoa,
go
whoa,
on.
whoa, whoa. Slow down. When they are 52, they can explore. You should hear my son. He says, hey? Okay, when you are 40, you can start exploring.
oh
Don't
yeah.
mind, don't mind mommy, okay?
The way he wasn't paying attention until I said that. He's like, huh?
Uh-huh.
May they become adventurous at 35. Amen.
Amen.
No, that will be too
Nana,
long.
Yeah,
35.
my daughter went
send me
straight
my
for it.
check before
18.
I say
My son says 22. My daughter says 18.
Hey.
uh-oh.
Oh
18.
no, we are maybe 22. I enjoy my 20 days. So come on,
No,
don't play with
when
your
you are
20s.
18, you can go for freedom. Yeah,
Enjoy
you
your
can go for freedom
20s.
as long as you're paying your bills. The kid
Mhm.
says she's going for freedom at 18. Pretty straightforward stuff.
Exactly.
But
That's
it's
funny.
interesting, isn't it? Leaning
Yeah.
on
It
your own
is.
understanding,
Yeah.
it's interesting. The boldness to pursue God's given passion. Now, that's a funny one. Sister Amma, let me come to you. How do you know which one is a God given passion and which one is the one from the devil? Because I have
Well,
many interesting passions.
I actually have a question about the wicked flew when no one pursue, but the righteous are as bold as lions. Uh, the things that I did on my 20s, was I bold as lions or the wicked flew away and I have a question about that. But then again, the Bible have a the Bible quotations have a twist and turns around around the words and how we use it around ourselves as well. So yeah, to answer your questions, as Sister Yabuatuma did, I am ever part. I will take an out and then I will find myself in a national theater enjoying Lucky Dube life and colored.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. Have mercy, oh Lord. Woohoo.
And so what I'm thinking is that the wicked that flew out of me and I became bold as righteous and lion
No.
is doing that. I don't know.
So there's a lot of confusion here. Like I
Yes,
said,
a
I have
lot of
passion,
confusion.
very passionate. But sometimes I look at some of my passions and I've got to wonder, where is it coming from? Some are clearly of the Lord, others I'm not so sure of. We might have to go speak to the Lord and check these out. I mean, it's conflicting, isn't it? Because the Lord made me, and
Right.
these things
Mhm,
are clearly in me somewhere. And
mhm,
it's quite difficult sometimes to reconcile what you know of the things of the Lord and the things that go through your head sometimes.
mhm.
Antia, let me come to you next. So, you want us to be bold and pursue. What were you thinking when you wrote it? What were you hoping to communicate?
Well, you know something? There are a lot of people who may not necessarily even know what their passion is because it's not, if I take where we come from, how many people really know what their passion is? And yet I'll explain and use this example. Like my son, right? He was quite good at soccer. So it seems that
Right.
all his sons are like that. Like Ezzy is 8 now, and he's a good, very good soccer player. Now Malachi is just a year old. he's even refusing to walk, but he comes over and you are holding him by the hands, like you are behind him walking, and you give him a ball, and he's got this good kick. Like he's only a year old. And so I'm like, okay, this is in the genes. Do you get what I mean? So you are here. The older siblings are already in soccer. So naturally, this child will also be put in soccer so that they are developing their, talent. But my husband will tell you that my husband was also a good soccer player. He'll tell you that Ghana, you go play ball, you come back, Yabobo Fufuno is there waiting for you, or you may not even get a meal. We,
Mm-hmm.
we frown upon those things. So a lot of people, or even like me, I'll use myself as an example. I turn around and these kids, even my daughters, like they are so tech savvy, anything they can figure out, even if they don't know, they'll figure it out and show you. But then here I am, as I was growing up, an uncle of mine went to Nigeria. He comes back and he puts his those days gramophone in the living room. And what you get from my dad is don't touch, don't touch, don't touch. So how do you, oops, I'm echoing. How do you, okay, let me take my earpiece out and see if it will work. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Okay. How do you, you know, become curious? Like that curiosity is not, I think what my dad was trying to do is prevent us from wrecking somebody's property.
Yeah,
But at the same time, if you push you stop a child from exploring, they become timid. Don't touch
absolutely.
this, don't touch that. So now you're an adult, click
You
this, you
still
are
don't
afraid
touch
to click.
anything. Yeah.
Yes, you are afraid to click it. So there are a lot of people who won't even take the chance.
And it's so sad, but so true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
So sad, yet so true. It's one of those funny things that sometimes you don't realize, but I'm glad you raised it, Antia. A lot of us have got these fears and phobias, and it
Mm-hmm.
comes from some of these good intended advice from when we were kids. So many of us are so petrified of making a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
People will not touch things,
Mm-hmm.
they will not do things because they might not do it well or they might fail. And I've always
Mm-hmm.
wondered why we are like that, but you've hit it right there.
Mm-hmm.
That attitude of our parents trying to preserve things, trying to make sure our curiosity did not ruin anything, destroy
Mm-hmm.
anything, has
Mm-hmm.
also robbed a lot of us of the impetus to try new things,
Mm-hmm.
the impetus to go out and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you are somebody like that and you have difficulties overriding, overcoming this fear, Sister, yeah, what would you say to such a person? Typical classic one of our brothers or sisters who's scared of everything, doesn't want to try anything new, doesn't want to break anything. What would you say to them?
Well, I guess if you're fearful of failure, uh, you can move forward because failure teaches us things. Because the more you do something, the more you learn from it, and the more you better yourself. So if you don't try it, that's the failure. If you have something in you and you don't go out there and do it, or you don't try to test it, that's when you have failed. So in doing it and making mistakes, that's not the failure. That's the journey, and the lessons that you learn from it will make you a better person. So we should go out there and pursue whatever that we've discovered is our passion. And if we haven't discovered it, we should try and discover whatever that gifts or passion that God has put in us, because we all have one.
Right. So what we think is failure is not failure. What we think is failure is living. Is that what you say?
Exactly. Living, learning, and a journey. That's life.
Real. Thank you. Real failure is when you've not tried things, when you've not
Yeah.
done things.
Yeah.
and you've not made any progress from where you were
Yeah.
at the start. Now that's quite profound. That is quite profound. Thank you.
Mhm.
It's been a while since we read. Sister, would you read that third point for us one more time, please?
Okay. So rebuke the spirit of fear, especially of man. In Isaiah 43:1. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
Mm,
Mhm.
that's a very
Yeah,
interesting one, of a
sharing.
sound mind.
Good morning, Pastor Patience.
Oh yeah,
That bit
Welcome.
of a sound mind is very interesting, isn't it?
it
Yeah.
is.
I've always wondered what makes a sound mind. So, actually, when you read this, it's actually suggesting that a sound mind is a fearless mind.
Mhm.
When you listen to that,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting concept, I've got to say. When you have a sound mind, you are not afraid. Wow. So, when you are afraid, you are not sound.
Yes.
Auntie, am I reading this right? Or am I
Yeah.
misinterpreting as usual?
Sounds right. I've never thought of it
Well,
that
I
way
hadn't thought
before.
of it that way, but you're
Yeah,
bringing fear. So it's, yeah, fear makes you,
it's
no.
true.
Trust me to misinterpret, but yeah, I've never thought of it that way. But
I've
Mhm.
now that I'm
never.
listening to it, it's quite clear that when you have a sound mind, you are not afraid.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
But then that also says that when you are afraid, you don't have a sound mind.
Yep.
Mhm.
Ouch.
Mhm. Yeah.
Ouch. 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 Antia, ouch. Right. That means that insanity, as we've thought of it, is completely different from what it really is.
Mhm.
Because if being fearful means that you are not of sound mind,
Mhm.
then I have been insane many, many, many times.
Whoa.
And now that I actually think about it and the things you do when you are fearful, of course it's
Mhm.
insanity.
Yeah.
You lose logic when you're fearful.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You lose control when you're fearful.
Yes.
When you are apprehensive, you lose creative thoughts.
Mhm.
You become a shell of who you are. You are not able to be resilient in situations where you ordinarily will be. And you are very prone to mistakes. Now that's insanity, really, isn't it?
It is.
I hadn't thought about that definition before.
Yeah.
That's a that's
And
a
you
new
actually
one.
see things that are not there.
There, yes.
You know?
Yes.
We are
Yeah.
all a
So it
learning
does
progress.
sound
But
like
I'm sorry, when you're
hallucination.
hallucinating, you are not sane.
Yeah.
Well, even you think things that are not there. Like,
Hmm.
you have
That's
a
what I mean. You
situation.
are hallucinating. You're not
Yeah.
sane.
Right.
It's not
But I was
well.
Yeah, the example that I was a simple thing, like if maybe some kind of disagreement happens between two people, and then you have one saying, "Oh, she did that because she doesn't like me." Maybe it's a genuine
Mhm.
misunderstanding, but they are carrying on and on. And if that person had stopped to let the other explain, they would have found that it had got nothing to do with them liking or not liking you, just
Hmm.
something they did. People have things they think in their mind, so they put different interpretations on the things going on around them. And some of it
It's
can be
so
quite
funny.
interesting.
It's so funny you've gone there and you've gone for that one. I was talking to somebody today. She says, "Well, look, everybody's giggling. Look, they are giggling at me." And I'm like, no. He is giggling with his wife. They have other things to think about.
Right.
Hmm.
These two kids are giggling because they're teenagers. They giggle as a profession.
Yeah.
Everybody's giggling because they have a reason to giggle. And
Hmm.
not one time has anybody even glanced at you. They don't care about you. But this person has become so obsessive about other people giggling,
Hmm.
and it's misinterpreting other people's giggles, other people's happiness, to think that they don't like them,
Hmm.
that they must be against them somehow,
Yeah.
that it must be because of something they've done.
Hmm.
See, everybody's laughing at me. And
Hmm.
it's so irrational when you think about it. But yeah, that's when you are afraid of
Yeah.
people's thoughts. When you are
Yes.
afraid people might not like you, you overread into everything.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And yeah,
Hmm.
that's very profound.
Wow.
Mm.
Very, very, very profound. It's not
You,
something I would have thought about from that same perspective, but I'm so glad
mm-hmm.
that we've managed to raise it because, yeah, tonight you will keep me up thinking about all the times I've been insane.
Well, get busy thinking. Hey, I wanted to come from another angle too, right? Like the fear of man. Sometimes we don't do things because of somebody keeping us in
Oh my
check
goodness.
Mm-hmm.
or us being afraid of what that person will say. I'll use myself as an example. Some of the things that I faced, if I were to have looked at them, I wouldn't have written a book, because sometimes you write something and then you hear somebody and you know that they've read what you put out, and then they say something contrary or negating what you have put out. Like, instead of seeing that as a gift in you and nurturing it, that is
Mm-hmm.
what they did. And it's not like I heard it one time, I heard it many times. So when you're writing about something about, like old age or people doing things in their old age, hey, last year, I don't know if it's this year or early last year, I've said this before. There was a woman who wrote her first book of poetry and she was 101 years old. So I was
Good on
writing
her.
something about, yeah, I was writing something about how my mom was. She's an older woman, but the things that she does, I'm looking at her and I said, if she's that busy, and it's not that I'm putting pressure on myself. No, I'm using it to encourage myself that at her age, she's still going. So what excuse do I have? So when you write about it, then you hear the next day that, oh, you should do something when you are young, not when you are old. Not everybody gets it to do things in their youth. You can do it at any time, so long as you are aware. You are aware of yourself, you know yourself, and you want to do something, you tell yourself, this this has got to get done in my lifetime, and so you do it. So
And
Auntie,
yeah,
let me
so you didn't
let
get
me
to do it as what?
Sister Amma, let me drop this in before we continue.
Please
Auntie,
do.
I just mentioned of her mom and how she's doing things and how she also should think she have to do something. When this COVID all started and I was sitting home, I I have two courses that I have in mind that I was busy to take. And then out of nowhere, I was this one will stay 3 years, this one will stay 2 years. What can I do in between whilst I'm thinking of how to continue with those?
Oh, she's muted. You're muted, Emma. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my voice.
I thought it was just from my end.
No, 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 it's me. Then I decided to, well, like I said, I it's not because I enjoy cooking, it's because I know how to cook.
mhm,
And the fact that people will come in and ask me, hey, this thing that you did, how did you do it? Why can't I make money out of that? That was
mhm,
what came into
Absolutely.
my mind first.
mhm,
Then finally, when I was thinking of how do I go about it, and over here with food and everything, you need a certificate. So I jump
mhm,
online, and
mhm,
whilst I was doing foods, excuse me, please.
mhm,
The kid.
mm.
Everybody has their boss.
You
Each
have your
and their
two.
boss.
You have your two with you.
Everybody has their own boss.
Hmm.
My own bosses, they are causing me wahala. But you
Oh,
know,
she's gone.
Shayla is making a
Oh, she's
critical point, and she'll
here.
come back. I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very important that she comes and she's able to finish it off for us because, yep, this is one of the popular ones.
Hmm.
Very popular.
And
We want to do things, but we are afraid to do them.
hmm.
Mhm.
We would like public opinion before we do stuff.
Hmm.
We would like other people to tell us that it would work before we
Hmm.
try things. But the problem is that nobody is here and available to say any of those things to us. Nobody's able to validate for us the way we want them to. And that's one of the reasons why none of us does anything.
Oh, and also for the perfectionist too.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, you want it to be like 100% before you start, but you
Mhm.
might not ever start if you want to
Mhm.
wait till you feel it's perfect as well.
Mhm.
You
Well, when would it be perfect? Is there a date?
Mhm.
know?
Can we know?
No, I'm not a perfectionist, but I had a bit of that. So before I started like coming out and doing videos and talking about products and stuff like that, I felt that I wasn't ready. Like I had to. But when
Prepare.
I started, yeah, I when I started, it was like a journey, as I was saying before, and I was learning while doing instead of waiting till I felt I was perfect.
Mhm.
Especially like speaking in public, it's my number one fear. Like, mhm.
And you know what? I am so grateful. I don't know what brought you to that learning, but I'm so grateful it happened because if you were waiting to be perfect, you would do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because you will never be perfect.
yeah.
You will
Well,
never feel ready.
one of the things is Auntie.
What did Auntie do?
Every week she'll text me, okay, so when is the first video?
Oh, wow.
You just throw it out there.
Auntie, that's sensational. I mean, thank God for you.
Yeah,
Because we all need an Auntie. We all need people who will challenge our thoughts.
yeah.
We all need people who will not accept our whining and our complaints.
Excuses,
We
yeah.
need people who
Ama,
will challenge. Yes, Auntie.
I didn't know what she was waiting for. I told her about StreamYard. I said, "Oh, get on there and do it." You blah. And then she's sitting. I'm like, so every time. So I said, "Okay, this is what I'll do. Every so often, just throw something out." So every so often, then I said, "I'm not going to let this go. I'm not going to let her go. She should do it because I
Yeah,
said
Yep.
this is the tool. You've been telling me about these products, and I'm like, people need to hear about them. So why not put it out there, right? Yeah."
yeah.
So she did.
And I'm
Ama,
so glad you did because now
yeah.
that you did, you've realized that you were actually ready.
Hello,
Yeah.
Yaba.
Because I felt like I would die even.
Well, I don't know. Have you died?
No,
No.
You haven't?
no.
That's interesting.
Ama,
But
Ama, this.
it's those things.
Oh, sorry. Mhm.
Go on, Auntie. Sorry about that.
No, no, that's okay. This fear thing, I still want to go there. There's different.
Please
Look,
let's.
look. Sometimes people are constrained by group dynamics.
Yes, ma'am.
You can be in a setting and you have something inside you and you are not encouraged. There are a lot of people, we look at what is going on around us, or we are in this body or we are in that body. So maybe if I do this, I'll be causing a raffle. But
Mhm.
do we ever stop to think? I was saying this yesterday on Sika's Live. Do we ever stop to think that if we help people to nurture their gifts, whatever group it is that you are in, it will benefit that group? And yet, when you start to, it's almost like cultic behavior, right? When you are in a group and you start to want to do things on individual, because we're all individuals at the end of it all.
Yeah.
But then you get constrained that no, this is what the group is about. So you going out to do this, you are not conforming to the group dynamics. You are just seeking out yourself.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
you hear a comment
That's
like,
true.
oh, we are doing the things of God, but somebody is doing something just for them. And I'm like, okay, if you're talking to me and you're talking about my writing, this is what I ask myself. So when I walk into the Christian bookshop over here, yeah, so you know that place, the Christian bookstore.
Is it the one at Wested?
No, there's one over here on 82nd.
Oh no, I've
So
been there.
yeah, 127 and 82nd. So when I go there and I see all those books, I'm speaking from the benefit of my experience so that if people are in that similar situation, then they learn from it.
Yeah.
When you walk into a bookstore and you see the books, they have names on it.
Hmm.
If there were no names on it, how would you know which book you want to read or want to pick?
Yeah.
So it's discouraging, we are sitting on people's gifts and we're not allowing them to develop themselves or to grow.
But it's
Hello,
funny,
Marie. Welcome,
this talent
welcome.
nurturing thing. It's interesting about this talent nurturing thing you mentioned. It's
Mm-hmm.
one of the most difficult things to do because most of the time, the very people you want to nurture talent for are the people who are not ready to do it. And if you want to develop talent for somebody who's not ready, you are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have
You
to
are in
want
trouble
to.
because you'll be fighting somebody to help them.
Well, maybe the fear, you see, they have fears. The fears are still there and
Yeah,
they are not willing to deal with those fears. When they
Mm,
yeah,
consider the option of stepping out, being bold and stepping out, that even frightens them more. So
yeah.
unfortunately, they decide to stay how they are and they don't grow.
yeah.
I understand why and how people get to that point. Don't get me wrong. But
Okay.
it's very difficult for you trying to help somebody go past that bit when that's where they are at.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When that is where they are at, that's where they are at. There's no getting around it. They are there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
it. If
Hello,
it's
Ajoa.
possible to take
Welcome.
them somewhere else, then you take them to this place. But if it's not possible, then that's where they are at. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There
But
isn't much you can do about it.
they have to
Hello,
want
Ajwa.
to. Yeah.
They have to want to do it. Unfortunately, the thing is, they don't want to do it. And you happen to be the friend who wants to help them develop it, but they are not ready. And the question is, how do you then get people to, one, appreciate what you're trying to do, get on board, and help themselves? Because it's very difficult
Mm-hmm.
to help people who can't help themselves because they are paralyzed by fears. And if you want to nurture talent, you've got to be able to take a group with you on this journey, right, Antia?
Yes,
Exactly.
but not at the cost of them holding you back too. Like
Yeah.
you have to
And
consider
that's where
all
the
the
funny balance is, isn't it?
Mhm, yes, because I'm
It's a
not going to
very fine
stop.
balance.
Mhm. I'm not going to stop what I am doing because you are fearful of proceeding, because you are holding me back.
Mhm.
True. Very true.
And so there are people who are caught in those group dynamics. Like what you just said, oh, my friend, I'm trying to encourage my friend, and they don't want to do this. And so then this person who does not want to move on, move ahead with that thing, they also try to discourage you. So if you're not careful, you'll get into this mode like you are in a group or you are in a group of friends and you are trying to develop yourself and then they have problems with it. So are you going
Yes,
to
they do.
okay, there she is. Okay. It was saying device not connected. It's okay
Oh,
now. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
I was on the other one, the other stream you sent instead of this.
Oh, you're sitting somewhere else waiting.
Yes.
That's okay.
You poor
Oh,
thing. You poor, poor, poor thing.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We have all these things that we want to help each other develop. If you want to do well, you've got to do well in a group. We get that. But in wanting to do well in the group, it's easier when the group has a buy-in to what you are trying to develop. If your group members don't quite buy into what you're trying to develop, then we do have a long, long, long way to go.
Yeah,
And it makes it very challenging. I don't know,
it
maybe
does.
those are just my observations. I don't know if the rest of you um, have also made similar observations.
Well, I'm still focused or harping on this point, right? This whole fear thing, it's like we have this spirit of limitation based on the example I gave about how, oh, my dad said, don't touch that gramophone.
Mhm.
It's something that we grew up with. Don't do this, don't do that. Instead of
Yeah,
maybe being encouraged to try this and see how it goes. If it doesn't work, maybe you can go to this option. we didn't seem to have many options. Like in our school system back then, you go to school, you're either going to become a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever, engineer. There's no there's no other
Yes.
you know. So if you go do other things, then it's like, even when you think about medicine, or think about dentists and how much they make here. I mean, I'm saying as a profession, right? But back home, we say, oh, if you that person did not got into dentistry, they missed medical school, and we have this weird mindset, you know. Or even like teachers are looked down, uh, teachers and nurses, oh, they don't get any pay, BRA. But you come here, and it's a different ball game altogether. So it's us, like where we've come from, especially if you've come from, I call it over there to here. You need to, like, I can't understand how we can sit and say we came from where we came from, and we are in environments where there's so many options to develop yourself, and we don't make use of it because it's that
Oh,
fear.
I can explain.
Even
The
a
problem
simple thing,
started.
I'm able, even a simple
Sorry.
thing as calling, going online and looking for a phone number to an office that deals with like calling a school to find out information, or even how to apply, or calling a student finance or whatever they call it these days to apply for funding. It's an effort, it's an issue.
Yes.
Like, we don't know what we are doing, we don't know whether we're going and we're coming, and yet we are sitting in this system. So how long is it going to, all fear, it's all because of fear.
Yeah.
Don't touch this, no, don't touch that, has become, I can't call, I don't know what I'm going to say, or what do I do, how do I do it? I'ma carry on.
I was just going to say the problem started the first day you went to school. You know, when you picked the pencil and you wrote some funny shape and the teacher says, that's wrong. Rub it and write it again.
And everybody laughed at
Yes.
you.
Exactly.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was the genesis of the problem.
Yes.
The teacher says that was wrong because there's only one right way to do things. So you got it wrong and you were given the rubber and you were made to wipe it and to do it again. You know those stupid handwriting books with the lines?
Oh yes.
And we all had to fit all our letters inside the lines. You had to dangle the tails and you had to do
Yeah.
this and you had to do that. Funnily enough, that was actually programming our mind to say
Yes.
that there's only one way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not how the rest of the world works.
Yeah.
Yes.
In most Western places, if you wrote something funny, the teacher would say, oh, that's an interesting way to write an A. I don't think that's quite how we want it. It's an interesting way, but that's not how we want it here. You might want to adjust it to this way. The kid has still learned the right way, but the person says, we don't want it this way. It doesn't say that it's the only way.
It's wrong. Yeah.
And because we think that there's only one way to do things, and if we don't know that one way to do things, then we cannot try things, right? And if we don't find that
Yeah,
one way, we
that's a
fail.
first copybook.
Yeah. And it makes it very difficult for us to dare to try things.
Yeah.
As we're talking, I'm just reflecting back to my childhood and I'm trying to find, I think it probably happened before that kindergarten lesson with the pencil. Started at home,
At
didn't it?
home, yeah.
Sister Amma, for me to come
Yes,
in
sis.
here, Sister Amma, there is an interesting job in the school, which I would advise everybody to take. If you get a chance to get to the school, just take it. Because me working at the school, I just felt like I was learning. It's like I'm back to grade one, learning
Yeah,
everything all over again. That's how I feel.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I was so happy doing it, not because of the money, but simply because I felt like I'm just learning. They are paying me and I'm learning. That was how I took it. There
Yes.
is
Yeah.
so much to learn. So just so much to learn all over again.
Amajo, what you said is very commendable, because how many people would be willing to have that humility to relearn?
Yes.
Ooh,
That is
Auntie,
one
yeah.
of our big problems.
Yes.
Because somebody can come and sit in our brochure. Okay, let's just take a simple thing like, I mean, I shouldn't call it simple, but I'm calling it a basic thing like the English language.
Ooh.
Years and years ago, over here in our library, I would go to the library to pick up books, and I would see our Asian I don't want to say Chinese because maybe they were other Orient, right?
Right.
And they are sitting there with tutors, like people teaching them English.
Yeah.
And they are okay doing that. They did that. But you have our people, maybe somebody has come here, they've lived here 30, 40 years,
Hmm.
and they are not doing anything to improve their English. Even if you won't go for a tutor and you think it's too much, if you have kids, the one thing that I recommended to somebody way back ago was that you're taking books out for your children. So why don't you read it to them? Those basic sentences will teach you, like, oh, okay, this is what I say. I don't say, oh, I is this, I was going, you learn how to construct
Right.
your sentences and that. But people are too, we get so caught in that. I know that when you come here, like, you have to make a living, money is the first input. But what about you yourself to growing
It's
yourself? So
fear. It's the
basic
fear.
things like that, we refuse to do it.
Auntie, yeah, it's the fear. It's not we are not refusing. It's the fear in us. Just
Mm,
Sister Alma put it that the first thing that you wrote, the teacher said it's wrong, and the word wrong was not what we all
Yeah.
accepted very well. So a lot of people out there, there is nothing preventing them for them going back to do it all over again. It's just the fear. It's still there. We've forgotten that that era is over. We have found ourselves in another page, and this is what we have to do. So this is where by the fear comes in. It's fear.
mhm,
Because at this stage in time, nobody will tell you you are wrong. Nobody will laugh at you as it was before. But what is preventing us from going forward to do is fear. The fear has captured us
And that's so sad. So
very,
sad. That is
very.
Well,
so desperately sad.
mhm,
apart from the fear too, I think it's some are clueless. It's the mindset, like,
Okay.
mhm,
So I mean, platforms like this bringing awareness might help someone
mhm.
who who would be willing to, but has no clue, like, because, and it all depends on who you first came into contact with when you traveled, right? I mean,
Thank
this
you.
Woohoo!
Thank
this is
you.
what they tell you: go to the factory, work, work,
Woohoo!
work, build a house back home, and that's life. And then eventually you go back home. So even some of the parents, when you come, they won't even encourage you to go to school, but they would rather push you to work. I mean, even when they bring their kids here, they're thinking about money instead, and it's all the mindset and whoever you came into contact with in the first place. So that also kind kind of determines how your mindset goes. I mean, for people who can really not, I don't want to say think for themselves, but already they have a certain mindset. So when they come into contact with whoever this is, then they just go with the flow. So I hope that people listening and who are willing to will be able to do that. I mean, you know,
Sister, yeah,
better. Yeah,
what you saying there suggests that in order to be able to shine, you need a strategy.
yes,
You
you
need to
do.
actually think it through. So I was talking
Well,
to somebody recently, and she says, "Oh, but I need to be earning money." I'm like, "Okay, listen, what jobs could you be doing now?" And we worked out that he would be earning about $25,000 a year in these jobs. But if he would only have the bravado to go to school for 2 years, he will come out earning about 75,000 a year. So I said to him, well, in the first year of your 75,000, you've already made 1 year's profit
Hmm.
on the job you left to go to school. You would have spent 2 years, and I'm sure you can find student loans and a few other things to keep body and soul together. And when you come back and you earn what you earn, you can pay these things back if you continue to maintain the same lifestyle you would have done on the 25K.
Yeah.
And maybe a day or two later, he comes back and he says, when you actually think about it and you put the numbers in your calculator and you divide it, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. But until you put it in your calculator to divide and to work it out and to strategize, it does not look feasible. It doesn't. And Tia, what would you say to those of us who find ourselves in those positions?
Okay, before I go there, I was going to add to something that he has said, or when I was talking about people learning English way back in the library in those times. Even now, you have things like YouTube. If I
Yeah.
Oh
want to,
yeah.
like, I've taken a lot of French, but I've forgotten it. Or I'm getting rusty, and I'm busy with other things. But if I wanted to review or revise, all I have to do is go Google something, and I'll find something to teach me some lessons. So, one way of getting out of this fear nowadays, everybody has a phone. Even if you don't have a laptop or an iPad or something, you have a phone.
Yeah.
So if you go to Google and say basic, how to learning basic English, every day, if you spend 10, 15 minutes, you learn something new. That's some growth right there. These days,
That's
everything is
phenomenal
online.
growth.
Yes, you just look. I don't know how to speak German. I don't know how to speak Spanish. But if I wanted to learn, I'm sure because these lessons they come with sounds. You hear things, you pronounce it. So I think that sometimes we ourselves we just want to limit ourselves, and maybe too, it
And
could
that's
be
the fear,
it
isn't
could
it?
be laziness too. I don't know. You can't be bothered. Amma, please repeat your question. I've talked. I've forgotten it.
I was asking about those guys who don't sit down to calculate and to work things out and conclude that things are impossible. We can't do this. It's too much. I can't go to school. I don't have enough money. I have to keep working. And people who have that kind of mentality, they do need to change the mentality.
Mhm.
What would your suggestion be for those people to do in pursuit of the change of mindset?
So I think that when you come over here, especially, well, whether you were born here and you are growing up here, or you came from wherever you came from, and you are here, the first thing on your mind is money, work, right? Because you have to live, you have to pay bills. So that becomes the mindset. And so we are forced into this mindless pattern, like it's repetition every day. Oh, I make this, that. But you, the individual, do you sit down and assess yourself? Like ask yourself, am I okay? Where am I going, or where do I want to be going? Right? So if you are somebody who does that or you don't, maybe you should start ask yourself those kinds of questions. What am I good at? What am I not so good at? Like, do you see yourself? I mean, a while back we were told this, right? And some of us we didn't really pay attention, but they taught a personal development plan. Like, okay, where do you expect to be 2 years from now?
Oh, yeah.
5 years from now. Look, I'll tell you this. I'm not sitting here talking blah 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 like I've always done it. But for the first time in years, I think was it last year, like when I started my writing or putting my things out on Facebook and to these Christian women blog, I would sit down and plan that okay, I'm going to write about this or I'm going to do this. And so I believe it was last year. I look back and sometimes you write things down, you don't even go back to it. But I look back at all the things that I wanted to do last year and I realized that I did them all. I'm thinking, wow, that is the first. So for me, that was an accomplishment. So if you take the time to sit down or even write, okay, I want to do these two major things this year, and then you go back and you look at it, what have I done? Where am I? We're in October right now. So if you wrote something in January, how far have you gone with it? Yeah, you're laughing. Do you have something to say?
If not
Woohoo!
now, then when?
Woo! Auntie,
If
you want
not
to drop
now,
blood?
then when?
No, yeah, I was laughing. I
Auntie,
just
I want
happened
to
to see a
drop
laughing.
blood. Blood. Woof.
Oh gosh. So
I can't
What
yeah,
answer
I've
that
been
question,
what
Auntie.
I've been telling myself lately more is if not now, then when? I think we
yeah.
should all have
Exactly.
to, especially if you have a spirit of all procrastinating, then you should
Mhm.
start telling yourself, if not now, then when? If not now, then when?
Or the other thing I do is people are so fearful. I want to do this, I want to do that, and I just go, just do it. Just
Yeah,
do it.
do
That's
it.
all. You have to.
Mm.
But that's the
Auntie, your
funny
book,
thing.
you said pray for courage, boldness to pursue your God-given passion, gift,
Mhm.
talent. So Um, this will bring me back to when I wanted to do this my home business. Like I said, even when I was online taking writing about food and asking all sorts of questions and diseases about whatsoever, I was what am I even doing? At a
Mhm.
point in time, I nearly gave up. But when I finished, what encourages me, as you mentioned about your mom, was um, I read a little bit about Kentucky, the Kentucky guy.
Oh
He was
yes.
an old man. It's like he persuaded and persuaded, but at the age of 70 something, he was okay. Let me put this together to see how it become. And now it's a name. It's
Yes.
a franchise, and this is something out of a corner somewhere. So I was this man did it at the age of 70 something. Come on now, I
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Exactly.
it's not because your mom was doing something anywhere accent. It's just that it's reflecting on you for you to say that okay, let me keep on doing something.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think we should all have that courage that okay, oh, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter how old you should be to start, but
Mhm.
maybe if you start and you believe in it, maybe there might be a progress. I pray someday I have my franchise out there too. Trust me.
Yes. Okay.
Amen
Yeah.
to that. That
Yes.
will be amazing.
That's it right there.
Oh,
Amazing. But the
when
fact that you want to start,
Alma, when she was talking,
yeah.
and then like a thought crossed my mind that it's also what we feed ourselves, eh?
Yes.
Because she she must have watched the documentary on like KFC or something. So if we're always watching or feeding ourselves or listening to negative stuff, then for sure
And
that's
Tokwaba,
what
you're welcome.
then that's what will bring out. But let's encourage ourselves and
Yes.
watch like positive things
Yes.
Yes.
that will motivate us. Even if you're fearful, you watch something. I watched the movie, the Madam CJ movie, and
Yes.
it was awesome. Like
Yes.
Awesome.
she fought, she persisted, and she
Yes.
knew what she wanted. She was a black woman, and the times that she did that, it was really tough. We have it easy now, so things like
You
that
see,
help.
one
And
of those
reading books,
movies.
books that would inspire you instead of
You see, it's just one
life
of those
books.
movies when you watch it and you are just there, you are questioning yourself. She did it. What am I even doing? You see, that's
Mhm.
how it gives you, right?
Yeah,
To add to that,
That's
right?
when you feed in your
You
mind the
see,
right thing.
yes,
you see this.
When you
I'm coming.
feed in
Sorry.
your mind the negative things, it also doesn't
Mhm.
give you positive affirmations,
Sister
does it?
Sledge,
yeah.
Sister Sledge bum. And I was going to say, you see this iPad that I'm holding here? How many books do I have downloaded on here that I haven't been able to read, but I have them?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I'm going to put it out there. If you, I mean, people, and especially our people, some of us don't like to read.
Yeah.
There's this thing. It's pdfdrive.net.
Mhm.
Maybe I should write it down.
Yeah.
pdfdrive.net. And when you go there, you can download books for free.
Yes.
If you know the author and you type it in and it comes up, you can download it and read it. So
Mhm.
there's so many resources available to us if we are interested in growing or bettering ourselves. But we take up those opportunities. Sometimes we don't even know. You see, that's why we are here, but we are still in our limited and small enclaves. We don't branch out to go to other people, into other groups to learn or to see what they are doing. It's okay to want to be with your own people, but pick friends of other, ethnicities and learn.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Auntie, yeah. Sister Ama, Jibu, two before I continue to say whatever. Two, take your two for this one. There is there is a video you did. I just watched it before I will come online or before I started painting my face and all that. Oh, listen, it was well said. And the short video you did was on our sister who pick up a shirt and threw outside and came back
Oh yeah, that
crying.
one.
Two for that. Two. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
You
Which
see,
That
one? The
these
one
are
who
the
threw
patients,
the
yeah.
clothes away?
Yeah,
yes, she did a short video on it, and I was blown away. You couldn't have said it any better. I think that was the comment I put there. If we gather the courage to do something for ourselves, if we are in grade 1 and we want to go to grade 2 and we forced to be there, the the force that pushes us to be there should keep us going. We shouldn't come back
absolutely.
and be crying.
Absolutely.
Our sister came back crying, and simply because people were bashing her. Simply, and this is the problem. That was exactly what I was saying last time. That if we find a voice and we want to talk, people, those that will come and attack us, to know how they will attack, because it will bring us back. We will come back to where we are. And I felt that was what our sister was doing. Simply because people were bashing and all that, she ended up coming back and now all
But
crying. Where
it's
from the
because you want
fire that,
public appeal. What do you need
yeah,
public appeal for? What do you need it for?
exactly. The fire that God in her, for her to find us and say, hey, enough of this, to go. She should have carried that fire on to come back and say, hey, I know you people will not understand me. I do not all know. We should be more unapologetic to ourselves. This is the word.
Simple.
We've been preaching this. Are they not hearing it? Come on.
No, they're not. No, Amma, they
Amma,
are not hearing me. Yes, Auntie. Yeah.
I was going to say in response to what Amma Joe said that, you see, it's this thing we have in our society, the katasumu emuaso. You've taken
Oh,
your
yeah.
stand, you've done something, whether it's good or bad, you did it. Are you going to stand with it and go with it all the way? So
Oh,
we
yes.
put limitations on each other. People think, this is what I said yesterday, that you get up and you give an opinion, and that opinion is not helpful to me. And so if I say to you, look, I don't remember asking you for your opinion, but we don't think
Well,
about the
okay,
things that
Auntie.
we
Yeah, on yet, na yet. Auntie, yeah, wouldn't.
we don't,
Okay, so
Amma,
say
we
we need
don't
to
allow
wouldn't.
people to be themselves.
And
We
nobody, that
don't.
is the external person's problem. But I'm saying, Auntie, yeah, for you. Maybe say, what catch them say, I'm a man saying, yeah. What does it stop the earth from rotating or from revolving? Or does it
It's
change
not.
the price of
No,
oxygen? No.
no.
So
Like
why does it
Amma,
matter?
Amma, let me tell you something. Yeah, I know. This is what I'm saying. I ran into all kinds of opposition before. I'm saying being in these certain group dynamics and all that. And interestingly, as I'm talking to you right now, what I'm going to say to you is, if I had gone by all the constraints that I felt were being put on me, I couldn't step out and do what I wanted to do or be myself. I don't think I'll be sitting on this live having this conversation with you right now. So it's a decision people make. You have to choose not to
No.
let people limit you.
Mhm.
Simples. Because they will try. And that's the point. They will try. If you let them, it's your fault, not theirs.
Yes.
And when you say that to people, it's a bit of a shock to a lot of people, especially our people. If I want to limit you, that's my wish, that's my desire. If you let me limit you, that's your fault. That's not my fault. Because you have to give me permission to be able to limit you in the end. Without
Yeah.
your permission, I cannot limit you. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm external. I can't do anything to you without your permission. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing we need to own up to. You know, we have to learn to be responsible for our actions. Yes, I've thrown my husband's things in the street, and because I did it. And if you don't feel like you can stand up to it, then don't do it. Don't do it and then come back in the middle and come scream and shout because people are not liking it, because nobody is going to clap for you for throwing his things out. We don't even want to hear your story. We will not clap for you. Over it already. You know why you did it. We need to learn to be resolute in our stance. We make a stand and we stay there, and we defend our stand, and we don't
Mhm.
shake because we knew we were not crazy to take that stand in the first place, right?
Right.
But that's what I'm thinking. That's where my crazy mind goes crazy. But yeah, that story, I'm glad, Sister Amma, you brought it up. These are all some of the things we do because we are afraid. We are afraid of public ridicule. We are afraid of what people will say to us. We are afraid to stand alone. But unfortunately, in this life, we were born alone, we die alone. We stand alone, really.
You're breathing on your own. Nobody is breathing for you.
Yes.
We do it alone. We happen to be in a crowd, but each person is still standing and doing it on your own. It's not a group thing. And the day you realize that life is not a group activity, you begin to make progress. It's not a group activity. It's personal. You do it on your own. If other people happen to like it, great. If they don't happen to like it, well, tough. And
Our society has actually put it at that corner whereby it's everybody says have to be our say. So let's say we didn't have our minds then of and all we did was hearsay, hearsay, and their says have to be our say. We are in an era whereby those things doesn't really count anymore. I think our new era, the last time I put it as we have found a new love, the new land, and Sister Cecilia and Sister Aju, Sister Aju actually laugh over that. Of course, it's a new land we have found. Look at me here in Canada talking. We are in Canada, but we are like 20 or 25 minutes from Sister Auntie. I don't know about from Sister YAA'S. And
She's
you
in
are
Edmonton
miles.
too.
Oh, okay. And you are miles away. But look, you are with us. And here we are together talking. That should mean a lot. That should let us know that we have come this far, whereby we shouldn't be allowing our past should be still be dwelling on us as it is before. Where we shouldn't still be crying that, oh, after I said this, look at how everybody is saying about me. Or we shouldn't be crying about, oh, now I'm the one that is doing bad. And so what? Just as you said, and so what? So we should learn that once we try so hard to come out from that box, the fire that was in us, the fire that brought us to that page, we should keep it burning. Whether she was wrong or not, I'm not here to judge her or whatsoever. It's not my point to do that. But we shouldn't let the fire go because of what others will be saying to us. We should.
Is she done? Am, are you done? Hello, can we take a commercial break, please?
oh, yes, please.
Okay, here we go. Okay, we're back.
Welcome back. You know, guys, I am enjoying this because we are actually going very deep the way I wanted us to. Because sometimes we scratch the surfaces of these conversations, and because we only scratch the surface, people are not actually able to benefit from it as much. Auntie A says, go off and shine. Remember, going off to shine is a personal activity.
Yeah.
Other people are not going to be here clapping for you whilst you shine.
Yes.
In fact, other people are going to be intimidated by you shining. Because when you shine, you expose people's darkness. This is the sad thing. When you shine, you also spotlight other people's darkness. And unfortunately, when you spotlight people's darkness, they don't like it. They do not like it. And because they don't like it, they will revolt, which is natural. But the day you make that decision to shine, you also need to be aware of the consequences of your shine.
Yes.
So that when other people begin to do strange things because you are shining, it doesn't surprise you and it does not discourage you. And you continue soldiering on because you understand the process you are actually undergoing. And yeah, I think this is one of the things. A lot of us want to shine, but I don't think we understand what it takes to shine. we don't know the process and how other people around us will respond to our shine. Where does that fit with this bit of your command to shine? How does that work?
Come again.
So we want to shine. We've heard you. You've told us to go and shine. That's great. We want to be shining. One, we don't know where to start shining from. And two, we don't know how shining is going to affect our friendships and dynamics. Now that you've commanded us to go shine, you need to give us a little bit more of instructions and information on what to expect and how to do this successfully.
Well, it starts with you taking a look at yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I okay? Like, you know, by that I mean, are you okay with where you are at? Is every that kind of thing. Do an assessment, right? Because there's people who have a lot of things inside them. They want something they want to do, and they can't do it because they think they can't. That's what they've told their mind or they've told themselves. But if you start doing that and you ask yourself, like, you need to be disciplined, right? How many of us are really honest with ourselves? Because there's so many things that we've hidden, like it's deep down that we don't, people are, I don't know how to explain it. There are some who may be so, the words are not coming, but all they know and all they are used to are the group dynamics. I'm in a group. When they're alone, they don't know who they are.
Yes.
So if you are that kind
Standing
of
alone.
yes, if you are that kind of person, can you sit quietly by yourself for even 2 minutes to ask yourself, who am I? What do I want out of life? It's not if they say let's move this way, then you are going, everything you are following, but maybe it's not something that you wish to do. So you take a look at yourself. Where have I come from? Even you can go back 10 years, whatever, or your whole life or the last 2 years. Have I made any progress? Am I happy with who I am? What do I want to do different? And you start by this. I know that when we say this, we say a lot of our people don't like to read, but a lot of things that you want to know or need to know can be found in books or online. Do you have the time to invest in developing yourself? It doesn't have to be anything major. Like I said, if you know things like pdfdrive.net, basic books, start somewhere. Assess yourself. Maybe you are working, yes, you have to work, but when you work, you come home. What do you do with your evenings? Are you sitting on your phone talking about Yabuatima and how she has colored her hair gray and she's on Facebook talking and talking? Or are
Which they
you
do very well.
Dancing on TikTok.
But I'm dissing her
Mhm.
my spare time. I am not progressing because I'm spending my time on Sister. Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, you asked the question. Are you sitting down chatting about Yabwatma? Yes, Auntie. Yeah, yes, I am. Yes.
Then you need to stop,
Why, Auntie?
because there's other things you could do with your time. Is that a good use of time? So, you just like, I mean, the thing is, we're not saying you don't have to start with big changes. You need to want to
Baby
do it.
steps.
Yes, you
Baby
just need
steps.
to start somewhere. Start somewhere. Like I'm saying, you're a mother at home, you are stuck with your children. Oh, my husband is going to work, I'm home. So are you on the phone talking all day? Or are you like looking on your phone, YouTube, or reading your kids' books, learning something, trying to better yourself? At least let me get yeah. Yaba says start with a simple handwritten timetable. Let me start reading so that I can communicate better with my children. Because sometimes if you are in these situations where a lot of parents, even your children know the system, they are in the system, maybe they even speak better English than you, so they are dancing circles around you. Bring yourself up to speed.
Yeah.
There's different resources there. Are you able to go to the school and even talk to your your child's teacher, things like that, right?
They don't
Mm.
do.
So
They don't do. They are afraid. They are standing behind. They pick their children way from behind and go without even saying hi to the teachers. They're afraid.
Ama, you know.
Like,
So
they will not.
sorry.
All these
She's
teachers like
breaking
not
up.
want any issue anymore. Come and speak to you. We just collect, then we will go.
Mm.
When we come, you won't even speak. You want us to come and speak all the time, annoying you. We will just leave us alone. But it's ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous when you first say it, but that's people's perception, really.
Hmm.
People don't feel the need to extend themselves, but they want to grow. And that's one of the last things I wanted to actually throw in as a bomb. You cannot grow if you are not outside your comfort zone.
Yes.
You cannot develop as
Hmm.
long as you remain where you enjoy. You cannot extend as long as you are where you've always been with no plans to move elsewhere. And Auntie, I think that ties in nicely with your third point, right?
SUSU.
The fear, no.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You need to step out of the box. Remember the box we talked about? Or was it with Ajo, the
It was
box?
a joy. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm
That's
a
the proverbial
yeah.
box.
The four
Mhm.
corners. Go here, go there, get out of it.
And
Try
that was a
something
very
new.
profound thing she said. Yeah.
Yeah. Try something new, Be willing to try. Don't just stay the same, stay stuck and stagnant.
The
Do
fear
you think?
has dwelled in us enough, and it's about we should now do a little. We should do away with it a little. We should start
Mhm,
asking ourselves, so and so what? I mean, and so what? Let's do it anyways to see. So we fail, and so what? Apart
go
from we
feeling.
being afraid, we are afraid of a failure too at the same time. Eh?
Mhm,
Yeah, so
Oh,
everything must comes with a failure one way or the other. Everything have its ups and downs. But once we started with the baby steps, we will walk gradually. We will get up
mhm,
and stop falling and then just walk
mhm.
as we want the walk to be for us. You know?
Yeah. Just learn to overcome your fears.
Yes.
So
Easier
now,
said, Auntie, yeah. You need to teach us how.
well,
Give me some
whatever it is that you're
ways.
afraid of, look it in the eye.
Mhm.
I've said a lot. I mean, it's up the individual. I don't know how to explain. The individual, you have to be willing. There has to be a willingness to want a change.
Mhm.
If you are not willing, then it's not going to happen. Oh, me, I'm
Hmm.
okay. At Mitisa, I'm okay. I'll go to my work and come home. It's okay. But is that all?
Good question. Loaded question. Is that all? Is that all life is built to be? Or is life built to be more? I think life should be built to be more. Otherwise,
Mhm.
Auntie,
it
are
is
you?
quite respectful.
Auntie, you are the one that said we shouldn't just live
Drift
or
through
we
life.
shouldn't just exist.
Yeah,
You
it
said we
was
should
going
live
through my head.
life.
Yeah, sure. No,
That's
we've
so
spent a lot of time on the fear aspect because that's a big problem for us as a people, right? So,
Yaba almost made me choke.
We also have to be risk takers. For sure, we are not risk taking. We don't do. We always want. We are afraid.
remember
Abana no ko ne yembo ni ding.
practice.
One only kind yembo ni ding.
You know
mm-hmm.
what risk you ladies. Minim risk. In my crop. You need baby feet because making a garden teacher say when you draw it that way is wrong. So no, I'm not a risk taker. I don't even know what risk taking is.
I
Yeah.
mean, let me tell you about risk taking. And I always make this statement that if I'd asked permission from someone to write a book, the answer would have been a big no. Somebody would find a way to say no to me. Sometimes you just go and you take what is there. You just do it. But you have to be bold or brave enough to say, I'm capable, I can do it. A lot of us don't feel that way. Oh, I can't do it. Because of our programming, all we know is I can't, negative, no, but we don't look at what our strengths are and work from there.
Oh,
Me
yes.
say me te brofo nti me ntworo book a, and also so is that a problem?
Oh, yes. Books. Yes, yeah, baby. Nobody's like the book. Yeah, baby. Yeah, you man kaka. Haya tukitiba. With the book. And that's right. But many pressure sa we accept. They say that the book. Say man cry better.
And you mean can so be a book, but I'm saying that you start from like it's got to be something that you like. You know, I never for the life of me thought I ever would. Ama, you're fading out too.
Yeah.
Hey, auntie, I watch the book. Hey, my hometown people stopped.
But Prof, welcome. Have you paid your dues this month?
Pre-prom for Momo Pa, they have suffered. When Momo Pa, so pre-prom, I'm telling you. When Momo who so pre-prom.
You know what I was saying, auntie, I said, what could you book? We yet me know the court kindergarten, okay? Which the book I made monument, miss me to the book, even though I don't know what I'm writing. Because who to the book, I man to the book, maybe I didn't say who in book which I say me. Yeah, you know, I bet you the book.
David.
Yeah, you know, I bet you the book. If you know you be yama, a banny and Timmy and Toma, you better saw you by for until I meant me and Tommy book. It's because of your witchcraft.
We do.
Oh,
We
I
are
know there's
so
true.
do it. Yeah.
But I was when you say it out loud, everybody's laughing. But
That's
isn't that our
ridiculous.
attitude?
Yeah,
Isn't that the core of our attitude?
it is.
That's the crux of our
Everything.
issue.
Yeah.
We don't diversify because we are not risk takers. We don't risk take because we are afraid. We are afraid because we only know one way of doing things. So when Auntie writes a book and she's making money, we think that that's the surefire way to make money. So we will all go down Auntie Ya's route, but you don't speak the English Auntie Ya speaks. You don't have the experiences Auntie Ya has. And when you attempt to write Auntie Ya's book the way she wrote it, you will be phony because you are not Auntie Ya. But you could have been a rapper. But no, you didn't realize it because you did not think outside the box. You were a lyricist. What is your business writing a book?
Yes.
You should be making music. And that's just as poetic. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But because we see only one way, and that's the thing, I've thought about this for quite a while, and I've realized it's because we see one way of doing things only. And we think that's the right way. And when somebody finds that one way, we all want to toe that line because we don't even think that there might be another way. Yeah, Yaba says the beauty about this is it takes one attempt to go out of your comfort zone, and that whole fear that has ruled your life disappears. Just one attempt. Please say that loud.
I have something to say to Yaba's comment. That is true because, like I said, I never ever thought that I would write a book. It was a challenge. Like, okay, I was doing blogging, putting it in different groups, posting on Facebook. Then my son pushed me, hey, write this book. So I did. So for me, it's like you have one challenge. As soon as you overcome that, it's easy to do the next. So I'm saying that I wrote the first one and I had material for a second. So I'm working on the second one. So now like the concept of, writing a book, it's not anything scary. Maybe it may take you time because, obviously you have to find material and you have to write it well. But now I know that I've done one, I can do more if I choose to. And that's how we need to look at life. Take one challenge, a little bit, you overcome it, you find the next level. Try to keep going higher and higher. Challenge yourself.
Yeah, that is so true and so profound. I'm hoping that after this series of conversations, those of you who've not dared to try anything, those of you who have been subdued by fear for so long, those of you, listen, a lot of you are afraid of what the public will say. But maybe some of you are comedians, and comedians you don't even know. Maybe when people are laughing, that could be the way you would make money. People laugh at comedians all the time. And they learn, most of the people who are comedians, if you've actually looked at their life stories, they didn't start life easy. They didn't go to school being the most clever. They didn't come from very comfortable backgrounds. People laughed at them, and they learned to turn that round and make people laugh with them. And when people laugh at you, the question is, can you make it so that people laugh with you? And if it's possible to make people laugh with you, what would have been a problem to start with now becomes your success avenue, right? So people laughing at you is not necessarily a bad thing, is it? People taking the mick out of you is not necessarily a bad thing. Again, the day you realize that some of these negative things in your life could actually be blessings, blatant blessings, and being willing to explore what started as a negative is the impetus keeping a lot of us away from our success opportunities. Or have I lost the plot again?
No, no, I think that's when the self-assessment also comes in. Because when you're self-assessed, then you look at what makes you different, what makes you you, and try to embrace it. And that's how you get to discover yourself and love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself enough, it's difficult for all these things that you're saying, like the fear and everything. But if you discover yourself, you love yourself, you embrace whatever is different about you, then it makes it easier.
You've nailed it. You've nailed it right there. Love of thyself. And it's love yourself just as you love thy neighbor. Don't love your neighbor more than you, because that's not the command, is it, Antia?
No.
You are not allowed to change the command to love your neighbors more than you love yourself. No? Help your neighbors to shine whilst you don't shine. Antia, how does that fit in here too?
You can encourage your neighbor, but while you're encouraging your neighbor, you'll be shining yourself too. You can't sacrifice. No, sometimes we're too sacrificial.
Ooh, you've gone there. Please explain.
Well, you see, we want to do everything for everybody, but we don't take care of our own selves.
Antia, repeat it, please.
I said we want to do everything for everybody, but we don't take care of our own selves. We feel guilty.
Is it even possible to do everything for everybody?
Well, women do that. Or seem to.
Ouch, Antia.
Come to tomorrow's conversation.
I can't wait for tomorrow's conversation. Women wanting to be the sacrificial lambs and not wanting to develop ourselves. But even if you're a lamb and you haven't grown well, when they sacrifice you, your meat will not even be delicious.
Ama,
you are useless
taking
sacrifice.
Out to the slaughterhouse.
I'm telling you. If you've not even taken care of yourself, we don't want you for the slaughter because your meat is not even attractive, is it?
No.
You are not even a suitable sacrificial lamb. But some of these things, when you first explore these concepts, they are crazy. But when you think about them with practical examples, it just illustrates everything. Which God wants a lean meat as a sacrifice? Which God wants lean meat as a sacrifice? Nobody wants it. Everybody wants the juiciest, the fattest, and the best of the meat. So how dare you? Yes, ma'am.
Even in the Bible, when people went to sacrifice, gave God some biara sacrifices, God got angry with them.
But why should he accept your ridiculous sacrifices?
Yeah. So
how dare you bring yourself in any shape less than your best and sacrifice it for? Do you understand what I mean? We don't think about these things, but if you want to be a sacrificial lamb, you still have to develop yourself and be a good lamb. Depriving yourself and making yourself less of what you should be makes you unsuitable for the very role you want to put yourself in, right?
Right.
Yeah. So maybe a few people need to ponder on that, think about it, Are you a worthy sacrifice, Madam Sacrificial Lamb?
I'm out here to actually.
And then you must have to bomb. Sacrifice now where you know cry where you go to one you do bank berry. Would you like to one casa we meet near the Mawa berry? Are you good enough?
Mm.
And it's that thing which we all need, for me anyway. That me realize it said me and Casa. I am worthy, one. And if I really want to be useful to those near and dear to me, I had to bring of myself the very best I could possibly be. Otherwise, I've actually shortchanged the very people I claim to love and want to do things for. And so I have to take some time to take care of me. I have to take some time to nurture me. I have to take some time to relax me so I am not apprehensive and angry all the time. I have to take the time to develop me so I am able to challenge them and bring the best out of them. I have to invest in me first before I can be useful to anybody else. And that was a big change. It was a big, big change in my mentality. It shifted a lot of things about how I did things. And Antia, you know, if we are going to shine, the very, very interesting thing is, you know, when you have your lantern and the glass is dirty, it doesn't matter how many times you ramp up the wick, how much you push it up, the light is still not bright because the shade is dirty. The better thing to do is spend some time cleaning the glass, cleaning the shade. And then a little bit of light is able to shine right through. Sister Yabwatma, have you cleaned your shade? Sister Amma, have you washed your glass?
It's
I
a
am so much on
continuous
it.
process.
Auntie, yeah, is your lantern spotless?
Not yet. We just
Amaman
clean it
says
day
it's
by day.
my own is in the gutter. It's filthy. It really is filthy.
So crazy.
Oh.
My own is in the gutter. It's still in the gutter. It hasn't even come out yet. It's wet and it's dirty and it's difficult for light to shine through under those circumstances. But yeah, take some time and polish your shade.
Yes.
When your shade is polished, it does not require a lot of wick for light to shine through. Those are the things I wanted to say as my last submissions. In fact, spend time and polish your shade
Yes.
so that a little bit of wick can give off a lot of light. So you can follow Auntie Ya's suggestions and shine. Auntie Ya, I am to you. What do you say to people? We want to shine. I've asked them to polish their glass. What else should they do?
They should know that the journey comes with challenges, but the most important thing is not to give up.
Okay.
Because how many times did what's his name, Thomas Alva Edison, the guy who made the light, how many times did he try? You think he got it on the first go? So you try, you fail, you keep picking yourself up, keep challenge, just keep moving. Don't dwell too much on your failures, because that is what has stopped many of us. Oh, I did this, I didn't do it well, so I can't do it, and then they stop. But just keep trying. Even if it's not the same venture, something else you might be good at. Think about what you want to do and try to do it well to the best of your ability.
Okay. Thank you, Auntie Ya. Sister Amma.
Hello, sis. Because you use the shade, I will capitalize on the shade. The shade
Hey.
is can be very delicate. Meaning,
Yeah.
if we want to shine it and we want it to be spotless or clean, meaning we have to take our time.
Ooh.
So in that in that
Yep.
aspect, meaning carefulness must come in. So
Ooh.
we have to be careful and we have to pay attention on the shade that we really really want to clean. And if we are careful and we are very determined and paying attention and taking time with it, then of course our shade will be clean.
All right. That's an interesting one. Sister Ya, let me come and pick on your beautiful brains.
Um, as I said, well, every change or whenever you want to shine, there will be opposition. So if you know yourself, you've assessed and you know what you have, then it's easier to drown out the noises that are coming at you when you're trying to shine. And I'll give an example when I say like love yourselves. I always tell new mothers, especially, that in taking care of your babies, you have to think about yourself. And an example was a friend who had a baby, and every time the baby woke up, she would go downstairs, go get hot water and stuff like that. I say there are easier ways to do things that will make you um, love yourself, rest while taking care of your baby. Like hurting yourself doesn't mean that you love your baby more. So you take things upstairs, get a cooler, get a flask, you know, to make life easy for you. So in taking care of our families as women, in pursuing our goals, and also in trying to help others build, you have to love yourself first. And that's why on the plane they say put on your mask before you put on the kid's mask.
Exactly.
Yeah, the first time I heard it, I was shocked. But when you
Yeah,
think about it, yes, if
it's
you're not
true.
breathing properly, you can't take care of your child properly. So
Bam, bam.
that's my
That is, and for me, this is the mic drop. My final words. There is nothing called failure. It does not exist. It is an arbitrary concept that we have created. Something, it's a rod we've made for our own backs and we beat ourselves and each other with. Failure does not exist. Learning opportunities exist. When you've done something and it hasn't worked, it doesn't mean you failed. It means that you still got work to do until you get to the destination you want. I have done so many things. So this week I was talking to somebody about these network marketing things that have been the talk of the week. And I was telling the person I started my first network marketing thing 20 years ago. It was an absolute failure. Tried another one 18 years ago. That failed terribly. 15 years ago, I still was at it, failing. 10 years ago, I was busy failing. 8 years ago, I was failing at another one. 6 years ago, I failed at yet another one. 3 years ago, I failed again. But then finally, 20 years after the first venture, when I finally realized that I wasn't failing, that I was learning, that I was developing, that all those failure opportunities were helping me to see what not to do again. And it's so funny that right now, when I put my mind to do any of these things happen a lot quicker, things happen much better than I anticipate. And finally, I worked out it is possible in the year 2020 because I failed in the year 2000 and then a few years later. And yes, it is a learning journey. When you think about it now, is it failure or is it learning? I dare say it's learning. Ladies, it's always a pleasure talking to you about this thing. If you need me, we will ramble on this one for months. Because Auntie, out of all the things we've read, this is my favorite, my absolute favorite.
time.
This shining bit.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is the change opportunity for a lot of people. This is the one thing. Yes,
Mama,
Auntie.
just to cut in quickly, what I want to say is that as a society, we stop each other from shining. And why do
Woo!
we do that? Why don't we shine together?
Hmm.
Carry on, please.
Hey, Auntie, are this your shining together business? I don't know.
It is
I don't know
possible.
about this your shining business because me, my shade is not clean. Okay.
Well, let's all clean it up.
When I bring mine next to Sister Yara so and her yellow, lovely, shiny shade, it's a problem, okay? So this shining together is an issue. Because my light is not shining as much as Amas is shining. And as soon as we shine together, people see my shine is not as bright as the
Shiny.
rest of them. That's a big problem. It's a big problem. Or is it just a problem for me?
I don't know.
Oh,
For everybody.
the same problem.
Yeah, shining together. But you know what? It's funny.
That is
When you see somebody else's light shine brighter, it doesn't mean that there is anything wrong with you. It just gives you an opportunity to work on yours. So
Mhm.
yours becomes bigger and you don't settle for mediocre. And
Yes.
that's the one thing we don't realize. Yes, seeing Ya's light shine better is an awareness creation for me that my light is not bright enough. That I've got to do something about mine so I can also shine similar to Ya or even better if I can.
Mhm.
Ya should not be my enemy because she's shining bright right now.
Mhm.
Ya is drawing my attention to what I need to do to get
Mhm.
better.
Yes.
and be ready to.
Yes.
Mm, mm, mm. Sister Emma, have I come to you for your final words?
I
Yes.
think you did,
Yes, you
but just
did.
as
Yeah.
you said, together we shine. Auntie I said we should help each other to shine. So if you help me and I shine, and sister yeah join, we shine. The second sister yeah join, then together we are shining, and that would actually make our shining easier
Ooh, you've
And
gone there.
brighter.
and brighter. Exactly.
Ooh. Ooh, you've gone there. You've gone there. Sister Amma, please explain. Oh, how are we shining and brightening together this week?
Yeah, we are doing it together, meaning we are not standing alone. Bright,
Ooh.
one of our sisters said we should brighten our corner wherever we are. Brighten the corner where you
Yeah.
are. I think that was the song, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So once we are brightened together, it will not make it harder on our generations coming. It will make it
Mhm.
rather easier on
Mhm.
them. And that is why supporting each other and do not necessarily really together, but let's give a helping hand, let's give a supporting ideas, let's give encouragement rather than pull me down syndrome has brought us to where we are. So if we are falling out of faith and we are coming up and we have, then let's join it, let's do it together. It will be easier on all of us. Yeah,
You are
that's what
absolutely
I
right. I was
mean.
just thinking as you were speaking, if I
Mhm.
attempted to come sit on my own on the live feed to discuss this topic on my own, it would have been a whole lot harder to do on my own
Mhm.
what we've done together, because in this way we picked on this person and you spar off
Mhm.
somebody, it gives you an idea, and what you say next is even more intelligent because it built on somebody's intelligence and so on.
Mhm.
When it's just you, there is a limit, isn't it? We
Yeah.
need to learn as a community to grow together,
Yeah.
to not see success as things to be jealous of,
No.
but
Mhm.
as things to learn from,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Learn.
things to learn from, to get better. And Tia has done it first. It's wonderful that she has.
Mhm.
What can I learn from Antia so I also become? How can I assist Amma so she becomes? And if Ya were to become as well, we will have four of us in a place that would otherwise be very lonely on our own. That is the lesson of togetherness and moving forward.
Yeah.
Auntie, thank you so, so much for writing the book and for
Thank
creating
you.
these opportunities to sit and to talk. Today,
Mhm.
my pillow and I will be very busy digesting what you ladies have thrown at me.
Make sure you sleep.
No, I can't sleep. When you throw these bombs, I cannot sleep.
So I'm at home now.
Whoa. I don't know how I
Mute.
ended up muting.
Yeah.
I was trying to flick the camera on and flicking
You
the
have
camera
left the
on.
fish market.
Yes, I've left the fish market. I've arrived home.
Welcome.
I've arrived home. So yeah, I've
I,
switched
Mhm.
on the
I
camera.
hope you brought the leftovers for us.
I actually brought most of it here. I only tasted whilst I was there. The bulk of it is just here to be eating. But you know, ladies, let me thank you all so much. And for the community, Auntie, yeah, we find ourselves building on these platforms.
Yes.
It is learning a new reality for us that we can actually
Mhm.
work together and
Mhm.
we can enjoy each other's company. We don't always need to be tearing each other out. We need
Mhm.
to make sure that we learn to build each other up, that
Mhm.
we find our positives and we are able to use it for constructive things rather than
Mhm.
tearing down all the time. So, Auntie, I thank you for the book. Thank
Thank
you
you. No worries.
for making these opportunities to talk. And for those of you who are on and watching and haven't got the book, if you have a look in the chats, Auntie, I will pop the store link in so that you can go buy it.
Okay, I
You
had
can
it in
read it.
there.
It's a very, very well written book. And as you can hear, you can use it to hold your own discussions. It is a bonding exercise for you and your friends. You are able to share your perspective so that you know where each other stands and see each other's ideals and beliefs, and you can form a common understanding of your friendship groups, your associations, and so on. It's a wonderful thing to read with your kids because it's funny. You think you have a perspective, but when you hear your children's perspective, you will be blown away. Buy the book, buy it for friends, buy it for family, read together, and support a sister because she's done a great thing writing this book. Let's all
Thank you.
support it so she's encouraged to write the second one because I can't wait to read it. Thank you so much. And thank you all for
Thank you.
watching. Share the video one more time for us before we wrap up. And we will see you. Auntie, are we back in next week or the week after?
I think we should do next week because I'm not available on the 31st. I have a birthday virtual something going on. So next week, are you okay, ladies, with next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have live.
Okay, I'll pick a topic and send it. So next week, same time.
Okay. I don't have the kind of life we're having.
You're fading out, Amma.
Again? Hey. Hello, Auntie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Now we can.
It's my hometown people. I was saying that I don't have the colorful life Auntie Ya has. I am not going for any birthday party.
It's not colorful. Me was forbidden a birthday. I'm saying Zoom birthday, you know. Octogenarian, I got to be there. So,
Auntie, have you ever birthday?
my uncle, me wafa.
What's the dear birthday? Moody birthday was Zoom. No, so that Papa never could walk out if you know better than what was Zoom. So
only how our fear, you know. I do thank you.
And I'm only
Ama, you are deviating, Yanko. So we are on next week. Was it? One G study. Into next week. So we are on next week, right? So I'll find a topic and then we'll share it. So anyway, that's what's
looking forward to it. Thank you, ladies, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
She just came from kitchen. Bye, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.